Old faces and new looks coming across the board in Indie Ball this week on the Indie Ball Report podcast. This is the 350th episode of the Indie Ball Report podcast. Isn't that something? Isn't that amazing that we got this far?
I was going to call you out last week on the fact that you don't actually intro us and say, I'm Nick, he's Ryan, or anything like that. Just throws right in. And then I fell asleep before we recorded last night. And I was like, maybe I'll shut my mouth.
Yeah. Don't worry. It's not like you texted me a half hour earlier saying 11:15 good.
Happens quick, man. Gets on you fast.
To start off the news this week by talking about Modesto. The Modesto Roadsters, to be exact, because that's a new identity. They're rebranded from the Glow Riders. Glow Riders are still going to get used about once a week, so that's kind of nice.
Already spent money on the brand and probably some merch, so...
Exactly right. We got to spend off all of the pre-ordered goodies. So what are your thoughts, opinions, and otherwise feelings on this rebrand?
I mean, it's good move. I'm a little hesitant on it. Well, the prior was certainly not the option, but I'm trying to see. I mean, I haven't seen anything where it's like I'm a little more confident on that endorsement potentially when it's I can see like, all right, what's this going to look like on a jersey? What's it going to look like on a hat? What's it going to look like, in practical use? Because I feel like a lot of brand announcements don't have these days, at least, and we can get into maybe why that is. I mean, I guess they do. Where's the full logo pack? Do we have that before I get too rough?
Yeah, if you go back to my Twitter, I have that.
Because my big initial take is it's a lot for a logo. Like, there's a simple idea, and I don't like the simple logo thing that everyone's sort of branding wise going toward, but there is something toward a clean logo that is quickly identifiable and also easy to use in different contexts. Like some of the logos, like when I'm doing a graphic or something, I find they're just hard to put on certain things because there's just a lot happening. And if you cut it down at all, it's kind of unclear it's no longer, the thing. So when it comes to like the hat logos, I like the M, I think, though I don't really know how aggressively it connects to Roadsters. I guess, is that like
it's supposed to be on the American Graffiti theme, so it's supposed to be more like Art Deco 50s kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't really get the animal they got. Is that a fox?
Yeah, it's a fox.
Okay. The research said the kids like foxes. All right.
I pointed out in my video, but it feels like they borrowed heavily from the Somerset alternative designs.
Interesting. Yeah. Not bad read. It's fine. I've been pretty hard on some logos in the past. I've been very positive about some logos in the past. I think this just fits very in the middle. It's going to be a lot about what they make of it. The colors, I think, are a good way to go. It's different from a lot of others that we see these days. Kind of shying away from like the really bright colors that we're kind of finding. The red and black is kind of interesting, I guess. I don't have many hard feelings on this matter. It didn't inspire me for sure, but at least it shows they listened, I guess. Though they said they listened the first time, and that's where I'm kind of like.
Well, I mean, they definitely listened to the feedback. That's the good news here, is that they said,
right.
All right, nobody likes this. We got to do something differently here.
There's too much in the main logo, like the actual full logo. You got the Modesto, you got the different script for the Roadsters one, which is fine. I get it. You have like the cruiser detail on the license plate. You have the Roadsters detail on the front of the car. You have the eyes on the headlights. You have the hanging baseballs. You have the mascot in the car. You have the water, wealth, contentment, and health thing. That's apparently Modesto's thing on the arch behind them. Like I kind of, it's funny. I feel like I would like the eyes a little bit more if it didn't feel so much like the St. Elsinore Storm.
Yes.
Or the Lake Elsinore Storm, sorry.
I know exactly.
That's the one where I'm kind of like, well, I wish, and it's tough because it's hard for me to be like, I mean, there are like two California teams. They're like 6 hours apart, if I remember right. But it does make me kind of go,
But yeah,
I don't know.
that
The
part
main
of it
logo is it's just a
fine.
lot put on stuff,
Yeah.
but
I don't think you're gonna see that as the main thing used though. I'd be more interested to see if we get one of these other alternate ones, either the cruisers one, I think we'll see more of use. I can see it also getting simplified down to either just the Fox in the car or just the word mark of Modesto Roadsters on there. I can see
yeah.
that happening. I think that's most likely there. You can also kind of see what I mean here. We go about a minute and a half in on the video I put up there. You see what
Yeah.
I mean with the Zorros and the Jersey Diners thing?
Mhm.
Like, it just feels very similar to me.
Right. Yeah, and now I think that sort of LED style or the like neon style is big.
Yeah.
And I get where they're going with that. Is big for anything you're dipping retro in, so it's hard not to feel like you're kind of borrowing. Now, I guess here's my note. Here's the thing that I couldn't quite verbalize right away. Here's what I'm getting. I think it's all fine, and I think they can use it well and make it go from fine to like straight up good. Cool. My issue comes to this, right? I don't know, and this is an issue of, I guess, any new brand, so maybe that's just also aiding it. When you come to a team name like the Roadsters, where you are a thing already, right? I think the problem is if, say you want to throw your Roadsters branding on stuff, right? That script with the Roadsters, it's like nondescript. Like, you know what I mean? If I see that, I'm not like, what you want is to see a Roadsters shirt and be like, oh yeah, like that's some sort of sports team, even if I have no knowledge of it. Interested, maybe. Instead of being like, I guess that guy likes Roadsters? Question mark? Like, and this is spoken as somebody who has the ongoing battle of wearing Reading shirts that just seems like I'm a fan of reading. Like, so I get it. But that's, if you look at like the Roadsters script, it just doesn't, there's not much to it.
There's
like,
nothing that stands out and differentiates itself from the actual.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
And there's nothing when it comes to like even the
spell.
spelling or whatever, like even like the bird dog, something special, but like the way they spell it differently. So like you wear a bird dog shirt, you're like, oh, that's a thing. Okay. The Mud Monsters is a thing. Honey Hunters, despite being not an overly special type of thing, if you saw Honey Hunters on a thing, you're like, oh, that must be, you just have to tread lightly if you're going to name yourself after something like Roadsters that are already a physical thing people have awareness of.
Before I dive into that, I do want to point out, can we talk for just 1 second about how the Bird Dogs SEO has to be messed up by the clothing company Bird Dogs?
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah.
Like, I can't tell if that's helping or hurting their SEO because like there's probably not much demand for it, but the demand that there is, not just being able to type Bird Dogs in, kind of hurts it. But then again, a lot of teams kind of have that problem too. So like,
Yeah.
Because Roadsters kind of has the same issue with their SEO on this.
Right. I will say I'm out of Google and I search Bird Dogs. It does come up because sometimes it just comes up because it knows me. And you're like, you're looking for the indie ball team. Say less, my friend. But yeah, let me see. Yeah, you search Roadsters, you ain't getting nothing, especially because Tesla has a Roadster. That's tough. Yeah, like that, you're going to be buried, guys. So that's something to be aware of. Here's my fear. Cool. Modesto Roadsters does at least come up. But yeah, that's something to be aware of. That's all. And I know that's sort of a tough one to navigate, but I do believe in this era of SEO. That's why you have teams doing more unique names, because not only is it the thing of like, oh, the kids like it, but also because you need you to show up on Google. That's why Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, I think, struggled for a while because, I mean, I remember in 2020, it was still showing up as like crab places in Southern Maryland. I was like, that's not what I'm looking for, guys. So just something to think about. And I hope that they can find creative ways to avoid it. And maybe they pull another logo that has the Roadsters script, which I think is fine, across something like that indicates this is a thing, like a baseball team, not just, I
will say I do kind of get baseball team vibe from that from the script. It gives me more team vibe than just Roadster vibe, because I think Roadster vibe, I'm thinking more of an aggressive kind of script. I'm thinking more of an out there. I'm thinking more of an aggressive color scheme too, more reds, more yellows, more oranges in that. I'm not really thinking a baby blue.
No, I'm fine. I can see that, but I'm
I will give you
saying
this. It's
that
not
could be
pointing
a
out to the
thing.
direct product, but I am
That's
just
it.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's a way to do it. I mean, honestly, hell, it can be easy. You can honestly take that exact same script and throw a couple baseball seams through it. You could do that. There's ways to do it. Like, it's not a big deal. If you want to, that's all I'm pointing to, is there could be something there. There could be room for growth. So I don't know. I would say it's fine. It could probably use a little bit of tweaking, which I bet they will do, because they had a week to drop this thing. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think the mascot's cool.
Pro Fox?
Real. Yeah, what was it? The Disney Fox from Robin Hood, where every girl's like, yo, that fox was hot back in the day. Just, yeah, get a weird, sexy fox mascot. There you go.
Well, that's clear. The Jackals just can fix their attendance in one easy step.
Guys, the Jackal just has to be sexier.
That needs a little bit of some TLC, you know, like
gets the people going.
Maybe a tighter shirt.
Could I recommend playing to the female market?
We have Jackal news to discuss too. You want to go to coaching guys? Or you want to talk about Canadian baseball?
No, we'll go we'll ride that connection straight to the Jersey news.
Okay, let's go. Okay, we'll talk some Jackal ball. Thing that the Jackals now being mentioned. We have a familiar face again. Please welcome back to not just the Frontier League, but the New Jersey Jackals as well. Bobby Jones is formally now back as the manager of your New Jersey Jackals. Was the team's GM in 2023, managed Sussex from 16 to 22, won a title there in 18, was also pitching coach with the Boulders prior to going to Sussex. Guy knows, I mean, do we have to talk through his whole accolade? He's a good manager. There's no real way around to say that. But again, with Bobby, you're getting Bobby. And that can be a bit of a loaded gun sometimes, where there's times where it's going to go perfectly fine, and then there's other times where he's going to sit on home plate. And then there's some times where he's going to create a bit of a ruckus behind the scenes. So, to wrap my point, as I say about Bobby there, he's a good manager. He can be a bit of a handful. I understand why they went with him, because, hey, he's been around. He, in theory, knows what to do, knows how to recruit a team. He can put a quality product out there. It's just, there's a lot that comes with it. And you have to be ready to embrace that and deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. What did I say about it on my video when I was talking? I just did a manager musical chairs video, essentially. I brought up the fact that, you know, there are a lot of feelings about working with Bobby. I have talked to a lot of people who are like, Bobby's my dude. I love him. I've talked to people who said, Bobby was my dude. I loved him. Don't know what happened. Don't like him anymore. I have talked to people who are like, I hated that guy. And then the last few times I worked with him, I love him now. And I've worked with people who are like, I hate that guy. I hated him before. I interacted with him again. I still hate him. I've been right. So there are opinions. And as someone who tends to collect those opinions myself, understood. I'm not going to sit here and be like, that's a problem. I also think it's worth noting that a lot of our Bobby Jones exposure has come through the lens of the prior Jackals ownership, which is, if nothing else, an exacerbating piece of this, right? Mm. So if we're going to give him, if we're going to go the most favorable, let's go top, like player projections, top 20%.
Yeah.
They're bringing back a manager with a history of finding wins, a history of the general area and this team. an understanding of indie ball in the Frontier League and other leagues, I guess, but and somebody who, while because of maybe his reputation, they probably got a nice little hometown discount on it, whether it was intended or not, or whether he feels that way or not. And someone who's familiar to a lot of Jackals fans. Cool. On the negative, they might have just brought in someone who can be potentially an exacerbating an exacerbating factor himself into a struggling organization in a not up to standard ballpark with a new owner who, they have some familiarity, but this is full season number 1 and basically not much to build off of because Jackals are basically a teardown, right?
Yeah. I mean, they are a teardown. I don't know how many guys they're going to bring back, and I'm not sure how many are worth bringing back, to be blunt.
Right. So I think the question is, what does the average look like between those two? I think it is something more along the lines of performing better than they have been, thank God. And I think that we shouldn't look over the fact that Bobby does tend to have some players who are like down to go travel to go play with Bobby, or like down to like roll the dice on maybe a situation that wouldn't otherwise because Bobby's there, which helps when you're in a situation like the Jackals. So I think I don't hate him getting a shot, but I will really, if this doesn't go well year 1, I will loudly question trying it again year 2. And as somebody who usually allows for multiple years, at least 1 or 2 years of a manager, or at least a couple years of a manager to play out before saying, hey, let's look at this guy's job security, that's rare for me. But this one is more of a thing of, I'm like, hey, if this doesn't work, like if you're not seeing progress right away, both personally and on field, like let's not stick too long on this. Like the Jackals have sucked for long enough. They need to start to move.
I agree with that. I will also say, though, he hasn't exactly found too much success in the Frontier League, period. He struggled in 21, struggled in 22. I mean, he made the postseason, 22, only to get smacked around by the Jackals in that one-game wild card before then switching sides there. So, I mean, that is something else to factor in. I could give people a break for 21 because, I mean, that's an awkward, wonky kind of season. But, that wasn't great. From my recollection, 19 was good. They made the final for the Can-Am League. They won in 18 for Can-Am. And then, it's really hard for me to gauge anything for Can-Am when there's 4 real teams playing and, like, one of them was kind of broke and dying. And you also had Ottawa kind of kicking around there who wasn't doing too much either. And you boiled it down to, like, okay, there's Sussex, and there's Jersey, and there's Quebec, and then there's, like, nothing else here. So,
yes, I understand that.
I do agree with you, though. He has his guys, which does help to recruit in this situation. I mentioned earlier on that I do wonder how much this is Jersey picking Bobby and Bobby picking Jersey, or just two sides that kind of were like, neither one of us
it's
got
the end of the night,
options.
2 a.m., lights are coming on.
Yeah. Am I going home alone, or am I going home with someone?
You're looking at, from across the bar, you're looking at Lamar Rogers. And you think to yourself, I got my ex's number. We had a friendly on our birthday. On my birthday, she texted me and it was friendly. Maybe there's something. Maybe we can rekindle a little something just for a little while.
Just for one night.
Music starts playing. That's all. Hell, 3 minutes. What? I mean, I will say this. Here's the pro Bobby position on this, right?
Yeah.
I would, or if I'm going to be a Bobby guy, which I'm not, but I'm going to at least put on the onto the debate stage, because I am actually more hesitant about this move than I am not. But I will at least try to play devil's advocate even to myself. Bobby got to Sussex. He went 49 and 46 year 1. He improved by about 5 games year 2. He was out after that. Chris Widger comes in, a talented manager in himself, by what people tell me, had about the same results in his first year, and then it fell off a cliff year 2. Is that Chris? Is that extenuating circumstances? Debatable, all of it. But that would be the one I would say, which is he wasn't able to sustain what Bobby had started upward projection-wise. You could argue with it, but that would be the positive angle I'd try to take on it. But again, recruiting to Sussex is a different animal than recruiting to Jersey.
Exactly. I will always say that, like, same ownership group on both of them. That being said, it always feels like Sussex is a better ran organization. And I can't quite tell the full scope behind that. But
Yeah,
it feels,
it's so hard.
you know. So it's an interesting
Yeah.
decision, though.
Yeah, oh, I agree. And it's interesting as somebody who's looking for off season and even start of season content. Huge for the squad on that one. But do you have any further thoughts on that?
Not on Bobby, but we do have another coaching carousel move to talk some Jared Edmondson ball, because he's back in Brockton for year 3. So far, he's 76 and 110 in his 2 years with the, I guess, Knockout Rock franchise.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I mean,
stock in the record given the
76
organization.
110. I mean, I feel like after year 1, that's not bad. I mean, they went 38 and 54 last season, which wasn't great, but like all things considered, it wasn't a track. Well, though I guess no, because technically they won 38 wins back-to-back seasons, which I don't know what to make of that. What is this league anymore? What is the Frontier League? Who am I?
It is a practice in thought crime.
That's beautiful. You know what it is? It's a team that went from a division that had a couple really good teams, a bunch of average teams, and a couple bad teams, to a division that just had a couple good teams and then one mediocre team. And that's kind of that, right? No, okay, I don't even know. Because we talked about Brockton getting the most screwed by the division realignment, right? So the fact they put up the same number of wins is kind of iconic. It is an improvement.
It is. And
I'm lost. I'm so lost.
Well, I mean, it is in a sense, right? Because you're playing more difficult competition more consistently. By the way, if you want to get an Oklahoma Comets, Oklahoma 89ers hat, you can get that for 89% off. It's about
I saw that right now, yeah.
I'm thinking about getting it just for the sake of how cheap it is. In any case, that's the point. It is an improvement based off of the competition they played and the way the scheduling now works. I think it's an improvement because things off the field have gotten a little bit better too.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a bit of an improvement because the roster felt more fleshed out, more well organized. I think he's growing and developing as a manager. That all said, I do question the decision to continue to run this back. I don't necessarily know if it has been the best outcome. Now, again, this could be a situation of how many takers are you going to have for this guy, right? So the job's only as appealing as it can be.
Mm-hmm.
But
so
it feels uninspired, right? Because you do in the weaker of the two conferences here, even if the annual champion does come from your division. But it still feels like there's not that many teams there that you can't score wins against, right? Like, I feel like you could go ahead and get wins against Three Rivers. You can get wins against Ottawa. I feel like you could probably play Tri-City pretty hard and keep it around a 400 winning percentage there, whatever happens with Quebec there, obviously. But then when you play the other division in your conference, I mean, at least going off of last year, are any of them really world beaters in such a way as though you can't reasonably expect to win when you show up there? I don't know. But yeah, I feel like they could have done more, but they also had stretches where they were playing good ball too. So I'm very mixed on this. Like, in the end, I don't think I necessarily care per se either way, but I mean, it's their decision to bring back, and like, it's not a horrific decision, right? Because there is still enough there, but I don't know if it's the call I would have made.
Yeah, so my thing comes back to, and this is kind of funny because the whole spiral out I just had of like, how do I feel about this does show beating the East Coast bias, plot and accusations, because I haven't even thought about this Brockton team in a minute, and it took me a second to be like, wait a minute, how do I feel about this team again? So it is definitely a complicated one. And it's difficult because I do think they, as I said, I think they were probably the worst done by the division realignment. However, so this is actually a bigger one. I think this is actually worth talking about because the people who listen to this podcast are sickos like us who would be into it.
Yeah.
And we haven't, I don't think this is a known thing because frankly, it was something not overly known by me until this past little while when I was in the market. The managing market right now is very strange in indie ball, right? So I noticed it when the Pioneer League is a good example. They had 12 teams last year. They have 12 teams this year. Some new faces, like new teams, sure. But the way it's going to work out is they're going to have 11 of the same managers, and then they bring one in. So that means only one manager with indie ball experience is leaving that league. A lot of teams are bringing in guys with indie ball experience. So that if you're in the Frontier League, for example, that means you're getting somebody with experience in another league. Typically, the way things go is you will get guys. Paul Fletcher is a good example. Had some success in the Pioneer League, made his way into the Atlantic League. That was a big jump, but it's a good example of kind of how it tends to go, right? You get a proving ground a couple years and then you make your move. With so little movement at that lower level, I do think it's creating a shortage of manager availability. But now talking to managers, I'm of the mind that because so many positions are just getting swapped really quick, guys are hesitant because you don't want to be the guy caught out. That's why I called my video the manager musical chairs. You just don't want to be the guy without a chair, right?
Yeah.
And I think people are hesitant to make a move. But man, there are a lot of managers I spoke to this year who said, I'm open to it. I'm open to a move. I don't like where I'm at even. But,
it's better than being unemployed.
Not right. And so it's a risk to go out there and be known as looking. And on the other hand, we're talking about, especially for a job like the New England Knockouts job, what you have has to be notably worse than, the Brockton Rocks job. That was my bad. But it has to be notably worse than the Brockton Rocks job, which do we really think it will be? That's the thing. You're not going to catch Atlantic League guys going down the Frontier League. You could catch American Association guys sniffing around. For the most part, you're looking at other Frontier League managers, guys who are already unemployed, or Pioneer League managers, and that's kind of your base. It does limit your options. I mean, clearly Brockton went to a Division II school to get Jared in the first place. And considering that, I think he's done well. Considering I don't think they have enough experience around him, I think he'd really benefit from more experienced baseball operations or a coaching staff around him as a support system so that he can really just do his thing and not be just constantly on the grind the way I'm sure he has been.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I think it is uninspired. I think that's a good word for it. My problem is, while I can get behind, I think they did improve just by putting up the same win numbers back-to-back years based on their competition. My main concern is I don't know that looking at a year of moves that he has made to this roster, I don't know that Jared Edmondson is going to be able to improve this team the 22 games that they're going to need to make the playoffs. Like,
that is a very fair point. Yeah.
Right? Because it's 4 teams in. I'm not losing it right now. It's 4 teams in the playoffs. 5 teams? 4 teams? 5 teams?
No, it's the 2 division winners and the 2 wild cards from there, if I remember.
Yes, thank you. I don't know why. I all of a sudden 4 felt like so few, which we've talked about is other headline here. Still very hard to make the playoffs in the Frontier League.
Which I do appreciate still. I want to point that out. I like it. Smaller playoff. That's earn your spot for the postseason. You don't want a team with a losing record winning the championship, even if they're going back to back. Fix it, Josh.
Though it is an interesting concept, which I've played with, is if you win the championship the one year, you're automatically in the next year. You automatically get to try to defend, but I think it's also a bad idea. Brockton, yes. I mean, it is 22 games feels insurmountable, especially because Tri-City is that team that they would be catching. No, that's a lie. No. Hold on. It's 14 games. Surmountable, correct? I believe. Yeah. It's the New York Boulders. And the Boulders look very... Problem is, I don't know how far the Boulders could really fall.
Well, I do know this much. I know they are going to be doing some other moves. The Boulders are doing a big offseason push to revamp that roster.
Right. I'd be surprised if they don't win more than 52 next year. They should have won more than 52 with that division they were in. Good God.
Mm.
They were giving games away. That was crazy. If we do a base assessment here, right?
Yes.
I think Sussex County, and we just talked about Chris Woodger, but Sussex County going 53 wins last year. We had a lot of contentious conversation about Sussex County because the entire year felt like this team was not the numbers they were putting up, and I think they did eventually get exposed when the time came. I do think they're going to continue to improve, but I think that's very winnable. I would see a world where I wouldn't be surprised if Sussex and New York both improve next year.
I think they will. I mean, Sussex is
going to have. It's going to be weird because Down East is on their second season. New Jersey is potentially improving or whatever with Bobby. And then you got New York and Sussex. That's crazy.
Sussex should have been better than they were. Keep in mind, they lost a lot of guys to injury, especially down the stretch there. So I would expect for them to really get better. They were really scraping the barrel when it came to pitching towards the end last year. And then I forget who it was. I think it was Backstrom. They lost to an injury about midway through August. And also Maciel kind of came down from, hitting 400 to just being like a run-in-the-mill 325 hitter, which, what are you even going to do with that, really, right?
Right.
So a couple things hit at the same time, and it became really tough for them. I know New York was also injured a little bit down the stretch here. If I remember right, the playoff game they had about a two-man bench because they had nobody else. So, and I get everybody has injuries, so it's not a total excuse, but at least in their case, when you only have enough guys to field a team for that day, and on the pitching side of things, you don't really have too many other guys to go to, and you already burned a lot of other guys, so they don't really have much to give you. You're going to be making some really tough business decisions.
I think all that's fair. I don't know. I guess you're saying you don't love it. I don't love this move, but I am open to it. I don't hate it. I'm not sitting here saying you can't have like the way we kind of had the Lamar conversation last year, where it's like, what else are we going to see? And I might feel differently again if Jared had more of an indie ball track record, but considering these were his first 2 seasons in professional baseball, like managing, I'm still like, all right. I mean, he managed to, I think, make a slight improvement this year. Hopefully he's learned some things. If he only can make a small improvement this year or nothing at all, like, I think then we're like, okay, we have a baseline here. I think we're probably good to make a move. And that doesn't mean I'm saying he should be done if that's the case. I'm saying maybe it just means he needs to take a couple years bench coaching and ride along with somebody who's got an in. This is one thing I look at, by the way, is how many dudes who just had nothing on the bump got more than 10 innings of pitching, because that's a red flag in indie ball. Is when you got a guy who's just getting murked and you just keep putting him out there. They had his first season, he had 9 guys who were just like, just getting ragdolled out there, go 11 or more innings. I believe last season he had 3 or 4.
Okay.
So that is something where he is confident making moves. He's confident cutting dudes loose, and he has people he can bring in to stabilize. And I think that is something. And nobody had an over 10 ERA with more than 3 innings pitched, which they 4 guys the first year did, which is crazy also. Yeah. So there are some signs of learning a movement here. So I don't hate it, and I'm not going to sit here and chop down a guy kind of getting the shot.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Jared's been around indie ball for a while. He was a Canyon League hits leader, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that knows ball. Exactly. So it's just, you should have connections from being around ball that long. It's just the results really aren't coming. And I hate to judge a guy off the situation that hasn't exactly been great, but like, man, it's not pretty. And like you're saying, like, where is the improvement coming from? Right.
And I'm also sure he's not working with a lot of front office support too, which is another thing. Like, they're not dropping everything to be like, what can we do for you? They're putting out fires on their own and trying to improve that situation. So that said, I mean, that just might be how Brockton is, in which case you can't have a guy who needs that kind of support, and you just need someone who's a vet, but where are you going to find them who's down to do this? Or maybe it just means, he's got it. He just needs a little bit more support, and we'll go from there.
Exactly. I'm curious to see
Trying
how
to be a
it
little more
shakes out.
positive.
Yeah.
You can't tell.
Yeah. Well, we need a positive week every now and then, right?
Oh God.
But yeah, so that's really all for coaching carousel that I can think of this week, unless you have another move that happened that I missed. The Hagerstown bench coach and all that came out too. Eggleston going there along with Shane Turner coming back, which kind of interesting.
Yeah. I would say this isn't quite a, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Nothing is confirmed. I'm hearing Pioneer League is doing a travel team as their 12th team.
Okay.
First of all, concerns, obviously, because obviously concerns. My positive spin on that would be, I think the Pioneer League is one of the easier leagues to do it in, weirdly enough, because you can just do a California section of your schedule and then do a Montana section and then do like Idaho, Utah.
So do it in pause.
If there is one league who cannot handle logistics, it's the Pioneer League. And there is also a rumor that potentially Shapiro's kids are doing, one of the Shapiro's kids is doing this, running the thing, the dude who was in Grand Junction, which what a bang up job that was. So look for a mess is what I'm saying. Yeah, the other rumor is that this seems like this could be a Dimitri Young managed team. Don't know what to make of that. Hard to make anything of his first season because it was NOCO. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean,
tough one for him.
On one hand, I understand why he would want that because, a job's a job. On the flip side, why would you want to sign back up for this?
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe just wants to manage, man. But I'm also like, dude, probably get like a bench coach gig somewhere. I don't know about that. I mean, who knows what the deal is? Who knows how much he's getting for it? Who knows what he's been promised? But yeah, that's what I got there.
Okay, so then it's not too. And any thoughts on the bench coaching moves, or
not much right now? That tends to be more about who fits with who.
All right, so I mean, it just felt like Mark took his guy from Staten Island, and then they liked Shane and wanted to keep him around. So
yeah,
kind of felt like that.
I guess I don't know, Reading guys doing stuff, Shane Turner, but yeah, I don't really have much on that one. If I'm honest, my attention has been pulled elsewhere on the coaching carousel.
Fair enough. So I guess with that note, do you want to talk about the last thing we have for the week?
Yeah, man, might as well.
This one kind of came out of nowhere, and it seems to have gotten a lot of attention because I feel like it falls into that same grouping as like expansion teams and things because it's kind of fun to speculate as to what something can be.
Gets the people going.
Exactly, gets the people going. But,
it does.
But to that extent, I don't know what to make of this one. So
I want to remind everybody how positive I've been. The logo I said was fine. The move for Evanston I said was fine. I said the Bobby Jones thing was fine. And considering those decisions, that's pretty damn positive. You understand me? Do you understand me? Let's all remember that before this conversation. Because I got angry Canadians already in my DMs. I'm not trying to deal with it.
They're calling you a hoser, eh, bud?
They're saying, my favorite one was that I'm just in it to be negative because negativity gets clicks and stirring up drama. I'm like, brother, first of all, what clicks? I've done one video in 4 months. Secondly, you think if I wanted clicks, I'd be doing Canadian Baseball League content right now? Brother, I'd be doing banana ball content right now. Take a walk. Anyway.
Yes. So the Intercounty Baseball League has now become the Canadian Baseball League, and it's transitioned from a semi-pro league to a pro league. They're going to be playing 48 games, where last time they played 42. They're going to start in mid-May. I believe they said second week in May to be exact. Going to be 5 teams to make the postseason. All games are going to be streamed on YouTube. There are 9 members at the slate. They're all based out of the province of Ontario. And that is the baseline facts that we have from the press release. More information will be forthcoming. However, that all said,
I mean, they are talking about expansion to probably, I'd assume, a 10th team. Sudbury ? But yeah, so a lot of excitement. The exciting parts have been like, what is this? Like, are they going to compete with the other leagues? Are they going to, could they possibly be taking the one I've gotten from multiple was like, they're talking about expansion. Could they be taking teams from the Frontier League, like the Canadian teams from over there? And that's where I started going, guys, we need to talk about it.
So first off here, a good number of these teams, their facilities are they're not professional facilities.
No, they're not.
One team, I think it was Toronto, which is a market you would really like to have straightened out, plays in a park. And I don't know if they have the actual capacity to run a professional team.
A couple of them seem to play at a park, but like some of them are like parks and some of them are like sports complexes. Like this is a park. I will say there are some very cool historic ballparks. I think that's awesome. I think like the London one.
Yeah, London.
Is supposed to be like the longest, like continually operating professional baseball stadium or baseball stadium or whatever. Yeah. Very cool. However, the reality check is, and there's a couple levels to it. I mean, do you want to finish your point? Yeah,
my point that I'm really trying to get at is I don't know if they're up to the standard that we'd expect from a professional league, and that we spent so much time here fighting it's men's league stereotype to then go back to this is something that really isn't anything I want to have a part of. And I question where it can develop to and what it's going to develop to, because there just seems to be such a low ceiling to this. And I have no idea how their logistics make sense, because everything is more difficult when they become professional, right? You add in so many other different things. And now you got to house these guys more. You got to pay them. You have to take care of some sort of nutritional value to them. You have to transport them a lot more. It's a whole big process here. And I don't really know what the schedule here is looking like. You're going to play 48 games starting mid-May. For most of the leagues that we talk about, that we cover, that's going to drop you off by mid-July, end of July, that you're going to hit that total. So you're essentially playing a summer collegiate schedule. So then why not still stay amateur and keep the costs low and still be able to thrive in the area you're thriving in? I just don't understand it. And a lot of the markets, I don't know if they can survive with that. The press release said they were at about 250,000 fans that entered ballparks for last year. Yeah.
I got a note on that, by the way. Yeah. They set a record by like 65,000 people, I think, by like as a league last year. So keep in mind, they were like below 200,000. Now, I'm sorry to say that, like, I don't want to immediately be like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm calling BS. But I'm also like, if I know I'm going to be professional, I need investing. I would also say I just blew up my attendance record too. That's quite a jump in attendance is all. If we need to have, my main concern is with 24 openings and these ballparks of these size and their attendance numbers, even if they're selling out, it's going to be really tough to turn any sort of profit, guys. Like it is the math ain't mathing. And keeping in mind so let's put them on that tier, right? From a talent perspective, I mean, they are Pecos League level essentially, and they're touting that they have about 64 guys last year who played major or affiliated ball. There's like one guy who played major league balls, like Fernando Rodney or whatever.
Come on,
yeah, right. He's just playing for fun. The minor league guys, so it's 63 minor league guys. Like, I hate to be that guy. That's 28% of your league has played affiliated ball. Not a flex, for sure. Which means you're competing. If you were trying to scrap and claw, you're competing with the Pioneer League and the Pecos. And the Pecos, like, maybe if I'm living up north, I'll consider going to the Canadian League, but I probably still look at the Pecos. I mean, depending on how players are being handled and treated in Canada. But if I'm a Pioneer League guy, remember, Pioneer League has some of the best pay in all of indie ball. So good luck competing with the Pioneer League. That's probably not happening. I don't think you're taking the frontier. I think one of the potential benefits is with immigration complications, getting a better like grasp than you might otherwise on Canadian players who are having troubles getting to play in America. But at the same time, you're probably gonna have troubles getting American guys to play in Canada. So it goes both ways there. I don't see the angle is my only. I just don't see the opening that is there. Like, there are gaps within indie ball, right? Talent wise, opportunity wise. I just don't think this lands in it. I don't. I think this might be ill fated. Unfortunately, I don't know. I love a new league. I think it's good for everybody, but also keep in mind the Empire League, which is its own debacle, and the USPBL, which I actually admire a lot of what they've been doing lately. Both of them are also up north. They're Michigan and New York, in northern New York. Like they are bookending Ontario. Like there are other options, dude. I don't see it. I don't know.
Yeah, like that's what I was getting to. Is like it also feels like you don't have leadership that knows the indie ball landscape. So I don't know where you're going to recruit these guys from. What's their pay going to be like, right? We talk about needing to be, have the Pioneer League exist and succeed because you need that base entry level league where guys can go and succeed. We talk about that a lot, and that's really the important value that they bring here. Well, let's assume for a minute that if you're the CBL, you want to try to get to that level of competition, that kind of level of competitiveness within a 5-year period, which I think is a fairly realistic goal if you were to try to go for it. The problem is now, if I'm a player deciding between going to play in Canada for 48 games doing that, and then probably being able to double dip if I have a good year up there for the back half of the American seasons, why would I choose to go up there versus go to the Pioneer League that's probably going to pay me more than what the Canadian League's going to, plus it's going to complicate my tax situation going up there to play like that. Like there's a whole series of decisions that go into that. And I feel like I'd be a lot more interested in this if they were to steal someone that knows indie ball, that knows the Canadian landscape, i.e. if you were to go and throw a bag of money at someone from the Quebec organization, probably not Scalabrini, I don't think he would do it, but like Charles Demers would be a guy I'd be interested if like he came out and had a baseball operations role or a league operational role and he was taking charge on it. Then I'd start to look at it and go, okay, maybe they're serious here. Maybe they know what they're doing. Maybe this is, something to keep my eye on. But right now, I just don't feel like there's the right personnel there for me to take seriously. And I think the best case scenario is that 2 or 3 of these teams stick around here and actually could be viable pro teams, while the rest say, this is a bad idea. Let's go back to semi-pro ball, retreat back to that. And the 2 or 3 that really thrived in that environment say, you know what, maybe we do look to jump up a level. And I feel like that's the best outcome, at least as it stands right now, because this doesn't make a lot of sense.
I am also in deep on the Canadian baseball drama now. I've been scouring the Reddits. There's some interesting stuff. They've been chatting about trying to take Frontier League markets forever, and there's a weird bitterness among their fan group. Not bitterness, that's not among the whole fan group, but there's been occasional mentions of like, if this becomes a Canadian league, they should come over here. It's like kind of like what they should do type of thing,
they
like as Canadian
home.
Baseball teams. Right. That's interesting. There's something under the surface with this league, buddy. Like,
yeah,
I will speak to the fact that I don't have a ton of background on this guy, Canadian baseball guy on Reddit. He basically has been covering covering this league since the 90s, right? The Intercounty League.
Okay.
And he has taken this as his like, I'm out, dude. It is definitely interesting. He basically just said, no secrets here. Changes are rolling out. And with that, it's time for me to step away and focus on other interests. Be there for my kids a bit more as one gets ready for university next fall. Finally, we have a weekend free to do other things, and we're doing absolutely nothing. Don't expect me at a CBL game. A self-imposed lifetime ban has gone into effect. A few owners have made it clear I'm a cancer to their plans, and complete with accusations that I lit the dumpster fire with regard to the leaks over the past week. I will do deep dives into the leaks. I got involved in the summer of 93 as a bat boy, wound up flipping burgers and dogs in the concession stand during the baseball camps and junior games. One night, the PA announcer had a family emergency, so I got to fill in. I was asked the opportunity to learn, yada, yada. Time flies, players come and go, bigger things. Words are thanks to many people. And then a bunch of people are like, it's a shame the same owners you've been protecting and shielding over the past few years are now kick you to the curb. It's almost like, I'm not sure why it is that you're being held accountable for information that leaked from a meeting that you weren't invited to. But if anything, this speaks to Fantasyland thinking on a lot of new directions. And then, yeah, dude, it's basically like something's going on within that league. So let's all be aware of that as well, because the Intercounty League seems to have some issues underlying. I don't know. It's definitely interesting. I mean, this thing could turn out, it would be really cool to have a healthy league up there in Canada, but I worry there's red flags, pretty far out there right now.
Yeah. I get very concerned by a lot of this. I don't see the viability going forward, right? Because why would you sponsor something in this league? Why would you be involved in this league? That's what I'm trying to, get around.
How about this one? In a strange twist, days after giving himself a pat on the back for ushering in a new era of professional baseball via his LinkedIn, Sean Fuller, who owns the Guelph?
Yes,
Sorry, guys.
Guelph.
Royals, will announce publicly Thursday that he has put the team up for sale. Interesting. Now, that might be somebody just understanding that they're not going to be able to compete with this. But
dude, he's selling this team for $750,000.
Yeah, that's apparently what London went for, or Toronto went for, I guess. I know we're way, way, way here. I think the Leafs, whatever the team is, the Leafs are Toronto, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. They he was looking for partners for the team too, so maybe that was a thing. It sounds like a lot of these owners aren't so sure about being able to to afford this. I'm going to need to check out the IBL Inside Pitch podcast because it's the last one that guy did. We didn't hold back in tomorrow's podcast. No PG-13 filter, just some honest feelings about what is about to transpire at 10 a.m. today. And in the future, as I mentioned in the podcast, we should get this guy on the pod.
I'm down.
Yeah, I'll reach out.
What was the name of the podcast again?
IBL Inside Pitch. So I'm going to go check this out right after the pod.
Damn,
it's like an hour
better numbers
plus.
than we are. Rip.
Oh, dude. I mean, he's been at it. It's fine. But
saved.
Interesting. Do a tell-all behind-the-scenes stuff that happened the past few years. Plenty of juicy stories from the past 2 years. Coaches fired, 3 or 4 all-star caliber players being left on inactive lists. Kitchener collapsed with 2 years ago. Drama in Toronto. Barry started an outfielder in a must-win finals game. Started him on the mound. Oh, my God. Hamilton drama and issues last year. Barry import drama. I just can't wait for the trademark infringement issues to come pouring in. I don't think Canadian Baseball League that operates in Eastern Canada will approve. Oh, there's already Canadian Baseball League.
This thing got way more interesting than I was expecting it to be. I'm not going to lie to you.
I guess they're saying it's like this is like an online baseball league, I guess, of some kind, but like they already might have a trademark on it, so we'll see. Dude, this is fascinating.
Thing.
This will be a series, I think. This is pod 1 on Any Ball Report's journey into the IBL and Canadian Baseball League.
Whiteout, the story of the Canadian Baseball League.
Oh, that's really nice. Good job.
Hell yeah. The heater's back.
That is really interesting. I'll reach out to this guy.
Absolutely. That is the cliffhanger that we need to leave this episode on.
Yep.
What we thought was just going to be a quick, like, wow, this is dumb. How soon before they retreat back from this decision just turn into no, there's drama and you're going to want to hear about it. So stay tuned, kids.
I'm messaging him now.
There's a few people that really just appreciate the Ryan rant we got today. And I really
That's crazy.
Be thankful for that.
I love that about you guys, but I'm so sorry also.
See, this is one of those moments where we gotta just take a step back and appreciate the fact that you're witnessing greatness.
Yikes.
It's like watching Quebec win their 7th straight title. Appreciate greatness. You won't always have this. Appreciate greatness. Appreciate the fact that you could buy 3 hats for $15.
Dude, I'm so excited. All right. Well, I'll let you wrap this up then.
Yeah, right. So we talked about Modesto this week. We talked about the carousel, and then we talked about Canadian baseball. These are all the things we talk about on this podcast. So If you want to stay tuned for more information, you could do so on just about every platform there. Indie Ball Pod on Twitter, Indie Ball Report, everywhere else. There'll be more coming out. And as you can probably tell, we do interviews around here too. So we'll start firing those up. I'm going to try to get something for next week. We'll see what happens with this Canadian baseball fellow and when he wants to hop on. So I would love it either way to get him on, but we'll have interviews coming up. So something to keep an eye on. Ryan, do you want to do plugs?
Yeah, Indie Ball Nation on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, podcast platforms. I should have another pod coming out, I think probably tomorrow. I'll probably do another little coffee talk pod. I kind of like that vibe for the casual content. And then always work on some long form stuff, which will eventually make it happen.
So there you go. That's what we got for you. You can stay tuned for more, and we will always be back on Saturday. So until then, and until next time, don't forget to play